Good morning. This is Chair French, and I'm convening the business meeting of the Kansas Corporation Commission for this Tuesday, November 7th. We're starting at 8:30 a.m. this morning because we have a hearing later today. On today's agenda, we have 33 consent agenda items and 2 noticed items. I'm joined by my colleagues, Commissioner Keene and Commissioner Keither. We will begin with our consent agenda items. Commissioners, you've had the opportunity to review all the items on the consent agenda. Let me ask at this time whether you have any questions about the consent agenda items, and I will begin with Commissioner Keither.
Good morning. No, not at this time. Thank you.
And Commissioner Keene.
No questions for me either. I would move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda, and my dog is thirding that. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. We will now move to our first noticed item. This is in docket number 22 CONS 3507 CMSC. And this is a proposed order on reconsideration on operator's proposed amendment to compliance agreement and lifting stay of final order. Presenter for this item is Mr. Brian Fedotin.
Yes, good morning, commissioners and all dogs present. On May 5th, 2022, the commission issued an order denying application for license for failure to meet the requirements of KSA 55-155C4 and KAR 82-3-120G2. Specifically, operator's license had been suspended for non-compliance with a commission-approved compliance agreement in docket 20 CONS 3288 CMSC. On January 5th, 2023, the commission issued a final order affirming its denial of the operator's application for a license renewal pursuant to KSA 55-155C. On January 20th, operator petitioned for a stay of the final order and for reconsideration of the final order, challenging the commission's findings that it failed to meet its June 2021, September 2021, and all of its 2022 quarterly obligations under the compliance agreement. On February 16th, the commission issued an order staying the final order and granting reconsideration. But in granting reconsideration, the commission did not address the merits of the arguments raised in the petition for reconsideration. This order finds that rather than disputing the findings that it was out of compliance with its 2022 quarterly deadlines, the operator claims the commission's license suspension letter prevented it from plugging its wells and getting them in compliance, or getting itself in compliance. The commission finds that argument to be nonsensical. A license suspension letter is not a license to avoid any remediation efforts. Applying the operator's argument, an operator that received a license suspension letter for failing to comply with environmental regulations would be prevented from taking steps to stop an oil leak and clean up the spill. On August 10th, operator filed a proposed amendment to the compliance agreement, which would give the operator 90 days to bring 30 days into compliance, followed by an additional 3 wells every subsequent 3 months until all 60 are in compliance. Staff opposes the proposed amendment. This order notes that the operator admits that it is not in compliance with the existing compliance agreement. Similarly, the operator acknowledges that the suspension of its license does not suspend its obligations under the compliance agreement. Since the operator's license is suspended pursuant to KSA 55-155C4 and KAR 82-3-120G2, the commission has no discretion and must deny the application for a license. Accordingly, this order affirms the commission's earlier order denying the application for license, and the stay of effectiveness of the final order is lifted. Furthermore, the commission agrees with staff that operators not presented any compelling reasons to amend the compliance agreement. The commission shares staff's concerns that allowing a non-compliant operator to negotiate more favorable terms in a compliance agreement when the license application has been denied would set a bad precedent and run contrary to the public interest. The operator has not provided justification to renegotiate the terms of compliance agreement, especially one that it hasn't been honoring. For all these reasons, the commission denies operator's request to amend the compliance agreement. So in sum, this order affirms our earlier order denying the application for a license. It lifts the stay of the final order and finds that operator's request to amend the compliance agreement is denied. With that, I'm available for questions.
Are there any questions on this item? I'll begin with Commissioner Keither
Thank you. No, not at this time.
and Commissioner Keen.
Thank you very much for that overview, Brian. It was very, very helpful and and comprehensive. No questions from me. I would move approval of the order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the order as described in this docket. Is there any further discussion of that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say no. The order is approved. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, commissioners.
We now move to our second and final noticed item. This is in docket number 23 CONS 3176 CSHO. And this is a proposed final order in that docket. For this item, our presenter is Mr. Jonathan Myers. Good morning, John.
Good morning, Chair French. Good morning, Commissioners. The final order before you gives operator until December 31st of this year to plug the subject well, return it to service, or obtain temporary abandonment status for it, with the consequence of failure to do so being license suspension until the well is plugged. I am available for questions.
Questions on this item? I'll begin again with Commissioner Keither
No, thank you.
and Commissioner Keen.
No questions for me. I think as I think John briefly summarized it, the order does speak for itself in all respects. Accordingly, I would move approval of the order.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the order as described in this docket. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, say no. The order is approved. Thank you, John. We will see you very soon at our hearing.
Yes, indeed.
All right. This brings us to the conclusion of all the items noticed on our agenda. If there is no further business to come before us at this business meeting, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. See you all soon.
Absolutely.